So if we can start the meeting. Very good.
Hi, everyone. Sorry for my tardiness.
It's quite all right. Thank you, Kathy. Okay, so this meeting is being held via Zoom under the laws signed by Governor Baker in July of 2022, granting authority for such meetings. Governor Healy extended it through March 31, 2025. It is being recorded and for public use. And I'm welcoming the board members and all the people from the public for this meeting. Thank you very much. The first agenda item will be to accept the board minutes from November 5th. If there's any questions or comments before we ask for a vote?
I'll make a motion to accept.
Okay,
I'll
Blair?
I'll second it.
Thank you, Kathy or Nancy, both. All in favor, say aye.
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 Aye. Opposed? None, obviously, because no one else is on yet. Let me just check that for sure. Okay, so that is passed.
Kindly abstain, Brian, since I missed that meeting.
Oh, okay. All right, well, thank you. It's positive on the other two and an abstention for you, Blair. Okay,
Great.
thank you very much. So I do want to add one other thing before we get to the commissioner's report. I spoke to John a couple weeks ago, I guess now, about the idea of having one of the next couple of meetings in person. And John said he'd be happy to host it at MCB. And this would be a meeting, obviously, for our board members and for the general public to attend if they like. I think it would be good ultimately to do this. I don't care if it would be in January or February, but I wanted feedback from the committee as the board itself, as well as the public, if any of the public would consider attending. No matter what, this extension for Zoom meetings would have to be reauthorized by Governor Healy after March, no matter what. But I know they used, before I was involved, before COVID, they were pretty regular in-person meetings, I believe. So I wanted to get people's thought from that first from the board, if anyone has any questions or concerns about that. And Curleen and Nancy's on too. It's just Curleen, I guess, that won't be here maybe.
Well, for me, this is Kathy. It would, require, if it was during the business day, it would require me taking time off from my full-time job in order to do that.
I understand.
Yeah,
Yep.
so that's definitely a consideration. If it was, if the ability to hold the meetings virtually was not renewed, then that would pose a long-term challenge for me, where we meet quite frequently. It would mean if we're meeting in Boston, I'd have to take, 4 to 6 hours a month off to do that. A one-time thing, I'm all for that. My question is, what's the purpose? Are we doing something special that day? I don't want to be exclusionary of, the public. Is that even feasible? Are we doing some type of like brainstorming session or strategic planning session, or having a special presentation, or meeting the staff, or like, what is the purpose for doing it in person? So those are my thoughts, top of mind. So just throwing that out there.
Yeah, appreciate it. Blair, do you have any? I don't want to, or Nancy, I don't want to interrupt if you have comments first.
Nancy's hand is raised.
Yeah, I don't have control over that.
Definitely. I mean, I concur with Kathleen. I'd have to take time off, and if it was quarterly or twice a year, that could be feasible. Of course, the issue here is transportation, and that would be a cost that would, that MCB would have to incur for my transportation, I would assume. That's what happened when I was on the statewide independent living council. So, that's definitely a consideration when having an in-person meeting.
Okay, thank you. Blair, do you have any comments or questions?
I concur with Kathy and Nancy. I teach a class starting at 1:30. So I've worked my teaching schedule around the SAB meeting being virtual. So it may be hard for me to get back and forth to the campus in time for class. The other thing I'm concerned about is the general public has the ease of being able to participate virtually, and that would be an additional change in their schedule as well as transportation if they had any concerns and wanted to attend the meeting in person.
So, yeah, thank you. These are all valid points. I should have clarified. I didn't mean that I expected every meeting going forward to be in person. First of all, I do think some of the comments Kathy was asking about are valid, that I do think it would be good for the board to meet staff at the commission, as well as if public could come to meet them, just, as part of the camaraderie of trying to make this committee better and more useful. But no, it wasn't a requirement to say every meeting we should be in person again. I just think sometimes it helps. I mean, obviously I've met Kathy a few times, and Blair, I've never met you in person, I don't think yet.
Mhm.
But that, that's irrelevant as much as I think sometimes an in-person meeting is valuable for a lot of intangible reasons as well. But I don't mean everyone. Maybe it's once a year, maybe it's twice a year at the most. I don't know. Either way, we have to go through the process of being allowed to have Zoom meetings, after March 31st, no matter what. So
What is that process, Brian?
I have no idea. I don't know if the commission asks the governor directly or if I do as chair. I'm not sure.
Well, I think I think the things that we just talked about would be great justification in your request or the request to the governor to continue to have Zoom meetings. Because,
I would do that no matter what. I would, or whoever does it. I don't know the process yet either on that, but I agree. There are times when people certainly cannot do this regularly, and the world's different now. But it's quite frankly, on my schedule as well, it's very difficult to do that. But
sure.
once in a while, I think it would be good to have an in-person event where we could meet and maybe have a special subject that day of something we want to do or some exercise. I'm not sure. We could carve out time for that. So I think that, and I don't care when. It doesn't have to be January, February. Maybe we do it in June. Maybe there's a time when Blair is not teaching or
Mhm.
vacation period when we could, figure out a time in a different month. I just want to bring it up for thought, and I think the comments are all valid.
Yeah, I think pre-planning, right? So planning far enough ahead so that it's convenient or not convenient, but doable for the members, work schedules and other commitments. And also I think making the purpose of the meeting more meaningful, not that these meetings aren't meaningful, but doing something special that's above and beyond what we do routinely every month would be good.
Okay, so that's food for thought for everyone. Let's get into the agenda, and if at the end of the meeting, if any public people want to comment on that, I'd love to hear that as well.
Right.
All right. Thank you. Commissioner, you're up.
Thanks so much, Brian. Good afternoon, everyone. And hope you all had a great Thanksgiving. And I know some of us might have had a little too much pumpkin pie, but a little extra working out will remedy that issue probably. So listen, everything is coming along smooth here at MCB. Things continue to move forward. Where we have good control of the budget, and things are going well. So just before this call, I actually got a email from ANF saying that a transfer that we were waiting for had come through. So it was actually the funding for the earmark for the training. So it is, and I mentioned this at the recent Bay State Council of the Blind, that the vendors are waiting for you guys. So Carroll Center for the Blind and Mass Association for the Blind and Visually Impaired are waiting and ready to serve you folks. And now that we have the funds just about in place, we'll be issuing purchase orders soon, but no problem. They're open. Reach out to them and get on their schedule so they can start working with you all. So that'll be good. Gives a lot of folks access to training, especially a lot of the new technology coming out. And it doesn't have to be required for any particular reason other than maybe you just want to learn something new, or there's a new piece of technology you're looking at, or a new feature in the software that you're using, JAWS or Zoom Text or anything like that, any of the Microsoft products. So give them a call, and we urge everyone to get on that. So we're very busy working on the fiscal year 26 budget, which starts in July. And if you able to catch some reports this morning on, I caught it on WBZ, they're predicting that it might be a difficult year as far as bringing in tax revenue. So they're looking at different projections and that sort of thing. So the FY26 budget is being developed so that the governor and others can take a look at and then prepare the budget that the governor can support. That's released in early FY20 calendar year 25. So, but seems like we're doing pretty good as far as that goes, building it for fiscal year 26. We should be fully, most of our positions would be filled at that point in time. We have at this point in time about 139 individuals working at MCB. That includes our CFO, which is starting on Monday next week.
Congratulations.
Very happy for that. And we're preparing documents and all kinds of other information that he will need, and we'll get that moving forward. And so we'll continue to fill a couple of other positions that are currently in the interview process. So we'll be close to what they call our cap of 141 staff at MCB. So this makes it very, very tricky. It doesn't leave us a lot of room to maneuver on the fiscal side as far as payroll goes and balancing all the services and that sort of thing. So we'll work on that over the next 6 months to make sure that we are in good position come July 1st of calendar year 25. So that's it's coming along. Again, it's a long process, the budget process, but it is something that we all go through. And I can tell you, I'm learning something new every day on the budget process. So a good chance here for me to increase my knowledge on the budget side of the whole state process from more a CFO perspective than I was getting being heavily involved on the service side of the operation. But we'll continue to do that, and we'll go from there and just keep learning and keep doing what we need to do to serve our consumers. We're looking at different training opportunities that might be happening, talking to a couple of new vendors, and getting them introduced to the agency and see if we can get them to get involved more in different opportunities of training. I had the opportunity to attend the Carroll Center Tech Fair recently. Met a nice young man there, David. And I say young, I think he was 10 years old, if my memory serves me right. And he seemed to be very much interested in technology and was very fascinated with some of the CCTVs that he was looking at. So it's good to get out there. It was an event that was well attended. And again, I think I mentioned before, spoke at the Bay State Council Convention recently, and great program they had. And we really were able to, present some of the information to our staff. Deputy Commissioner Justine Muir came with me, and we had both of us making little presentations for the consumers, and they were very responsive and very happy to be able to attend and spend the day there. Justine, are you here?
Yes,
So-
I am.
Okay, so Justine was in another meeting, just finished up a little earlier. So I was going to cover some of the stuff she has to cover, but I'll turn it over to her since she's here.
Can I just
And,
ask one quick question
take
before
your
we do that,
question,
John? Just for my own clarification, maybe you don't know yet either from a financial side, but I was curious when you said you have a cap of 141 employees for the commission. Is that based on, I assume, on actually the cost, the expense of having those many people, or is it actually a physical number that it is currently at for some reason? It's kind of a weird number. That's what I'm asking.
So yeah, so the cap is given to us by EHS and ANF. So yes, they do. I'm assuming that they do look at our budget. We provide them the information, a current payroll, a lot of other information on the funding that are used for services, and then they basically establish a cap and say, okay, you can support payroll-wise this amount of personnel, and based on the funding that we have shown them that we have available. So yes, so that amount of personnel leaves the service dollars untouched. We have obligations as far as the contractual obligations that the union negotiates. The state funds those for the most part, and also funds the Chapter 257, the mandatory increases that our providers get. So they fund that for the first year. They've been helping us with that, or helping all the agencies with that. But then you have to manage it and figure it out, and through budget requests for upcoming years, then that sort of gets cooked into the budget. So so the answer to your question is yes, it's based on that. But I don't know the actual
every
formula.
Every budget year, it could change up or down.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much. I just want to know. Sorry to interrupt, Justine.
Go ahead, Justine.
No, that's okay. Thank you. Hi, everyone. I apologize for being a few minutes late. As John said, we were just finishing up the children's service worker meeting. So a few updates from programs and services. Our vending program supervisor, which is Lori, and our director of programs and services, Joe Bazan, and one of our consumers recently returned from the BLAST conference, and that's the Business Leadership and Superior Training Conference. And this is really around the Randolph Shepherd vending program. So during the event, they had the opportunity to hear from industry leaders and discover new trends and learn about the latest developments and what other states are really doing with their Randolph Shepherd program. So they've returned, and we look forward to them applying what they've learned and the knowledge that they gained to continue to enhance our vending program, which is going really well. The Winter Social for Children and Families in Region 2 is being held this Saturday. And again, that's a collaborative partnership really with the MCPHS Low Vision Club, and also the Memorial Foundation for the Blind, generous sponsor. So I was just speaking with Kyle Strummel, who's our children's service worker who organizes that, along with Mervin, and each child will leave some with new Barbies, and they have a host of special gifts that they're able to provide. thanks to the Memorial Foundation. So, and then finally, I just wanted to note that, as I kind of mentioned last time, each region and program has really continued to have strong participation in offering trainings, both within their regions, to our staff, as well as in their communities or through partnerships with other agencies and some of our partners. So they're also continue to host in-service events as well. So, these have included things like human guide training, attending health fairs, meetings with employment partners. We've had a couple in-person job fairs as well, collaborations with VA's office, and conducting trainings at colleges and universities and senior centers and councils on aging. So we're really pleased with that and continuing it every month. That's all I have today.
Very good. Thank you very much. Nathan, are you ready?
Yes. Good afternoon, everybody. So we are going to take a look at the new dashboard. So I'm going to kind of guide us through that process here, share my screen. And let's see. Okay. So can people, so we're on the Massachusetts Commission for the Blind homepage.
Yeah.
And we're going to scroll down a little bit here, and hopefully it's following me.
Yep, it is.
And we got to these, once you get down past our community calendar, we have 6 boxes here, and the MCB dashboard has been added here as our 6th box. So when I click on that box, it brings us to the new dashboard. Hopefully it brought us all there. So it starts with a glossary of what the terminology is. So vocational rehabilitation, social rehabilitation, certificate of blindness, MCB ID card, some of the things that we thought we needed to explain and also the time periods for the federal, state, and calendar years, federal fiscal year, state fiscal year, calendar year. And then we're going to get into the dashboard. So it's very similar to a lot of the data that we had that I was sharing before, except for now this is outwardly facing and available on our website so people can check it anytime. It is going to be updated monthly. We're going to update it on the 1st of the month or as close to that as we can get every month, depending on where it falls on a weekend or not. So we have our open cases, currently 867 open children cases and 3,383 open adult SR cases. We have 218 VR youth cases open and 764 VR adult case opening right now. And you see this is a graph that we added here that has just the size of the amount of cases open for each of these different programs. And under each of these graphs, we do have a description. So, and I'm just going to read through this one for the open case data. It says this chart shows how many open cases there are across different groups. There are 4 groups: social rehabilitation children cases, 867, social rehabilitation adult cases, 3,383, vocational rehabilitation youth cases, 218, and vocation rehabilitation adult cases, 764. So there is a descriptor on each of the images. The next one is the closed cases. So we have SR children, SR adults, 128 SR children closed so far this calendar year, and 2,162 SR adult cases closed. VR, we have 94 cases closed already this year, and 48 non-successful cases. And again, we have a chart that goes along with that. We did add this demographic for VR demographic information for age. We did age ranges of how many people are in the VR program at different age ranges. We did 14 to 18, 19 to 29, 30 to 39, 40 to 49, 50 to 59, 60 to 69, and 70 plus. And we have a little pie chart that goes along with that. And then at the bottom here, we have the registration information. The total number of certificates of blindness that have been sent out so far this year, which is 8,104. We've done 1,078 MCB IDs this year, and we've had 1,713 new registrations. So that's the new dashboard. Has you can contact the registry down here as well if you have requests, and also the ability to submit a Massachusetts Commission for the Blind and Public Records request on the bottom here as well. So that's it. Like I said, very similar to what we talked about before. It's just a little bit more condensed and a little bit more fancy with the graphs available with it.
I think it looks great. Nice
Great.
work.
Thank you.
Yeah, I like the glossary up
Yeah,
front.
me too.
That was a great idea, Nate. And
Thank you.
I like seeing the graphs too, because I think it's the first time it really hit me of how big the SR program is compared to the VR program, just seeing that line
Yeah.
across.
Yeah.
It's just a different way to look at the data, and it just struck me differently. And also the age groups was very interesting. Just to see it's pretty even throughout, and also that you have, a fair number of people over 70 who are in your VR program. That's interesting as well. People want to keep working and keep busy. Is there any plans to add more demographic information up there?
We have the ability to do that. So we're going to take a look at some of our data, and some of the data that we've collected over the years when it's crossed case management systems. The way that some of the demographic data is explained is different. So we have to do matches and make sure that we're getting the right things. So we are looking at that. One of the other things we did with this is we did an internal facing piece of it, where I added the diagnosis and etiologies of each case, so we can jump into that and take a look at what those numbers look like, and if there's anything that's rising over time as far as a diagnosis goes, or declining because of modern medicine that might come out that might start a decline in a certain diagnosis. The problem with sharing that is there's just so many.
Yeah.
There's hundreds and hundreds of different diagnoses and etiologies, and the combination of the two. So it's something that I don't think we'll share externally at any point, but we do have that information kind of quickly internally as we continue to take a look at those things and do different research projects.
Good, helpful.
That's interesting information. And even if you had a one on geography for the whole state to show where the concentrations were and all that, some people might enjoy that too,
That's something we could probably do. We could probably break it out by region
I
or
like
by
that.
county or something like that. So I'll take a look at that.
That's a good idea.
Right. Well, thank you very much. So this
Thank
was a quick meeting. I'd love to have comments, continue conversation briefly, at least on the idea of having at some point an in-person meeting, and maybe it's specialized as we discussed earlier. And if it's very difficult, I definitely want to hear from the people that are on today, even from the public, what their comments are on that, and raise hands, and anybody speak up. I'm just on a pause right now to see.
Hi, it's Debbie
Hi,
McCall.
Debbie.
Hi, yeah, I think, can I just make a comment?
Yes, go ahead.
Yeah, I think an in-person,
Huh?
Can I come and see you later?
No, I just want to say I'm back.
I'm in a meeting. All right, Joe. Okay.
Go ahead, Debbie.
I just think that an in-person meeting is a great idea. As a member of the public, that would serve me, because I find that there's a different experience when you're actually physically meeting people. And Zoom is fantastic, and I hope that we can lobby to get this platform to stay, because it's the only way that I could really attend these meetings regularly. But once in a while, I think it makes an enormous difference to have that contact, especially for blind people, as Zoom is, a lot of it's visual. And when you're actually in the presence of people, like the White Cane event and a recent event I went to at Carroll Center, and any opportunity I have to be with other people in the blind community, I find there's a lot. It's an amazing experience in so many different ways. All the other senses kick in, and but it just, it makes these meetings, then we kind of maybe know who people are. So I would greatly benefit from that myself.
All right, thank you very much. Appreciate it. I'm looking if anyone else, I don't see any hands up. Does anyone else have comments? You don't have to put your hand up if you just want to say something, that's fine.
Brian, this is Blair. I have a couple questions regarding the reports.
Yeah, go ahead.
Nathan, thank you for your report. Is there a possibility to have the visual graphs and data audio described?
Good question. Something I haven't thought of, but it's I can ask about that. I think that's a great suggestion.
Okay, thank you. And Justine, thank you for your report. I had a question as to the children's event. Where is that being held? And is that a regular event that is held throughout the state during the year?
It's held at the Touchdown Space, I believe it's 5 Brussels Street from memory, in Worcester, downtown Worcester, off of Kelly Square area. And Region 2 does it, I believe, every quarter. John, correct me if I'm wrong, but they did a fall one, which was kind of Halloween themed, Harvest Festival, and then this one will be holiday giving themed.
Yeah,
And
they
I
do it.
believe they do two others in the spring and
Yeah, they do it
before
several
school.
times a year. It's about approximately 4 times, and it's a good collaboration with the partners at the school, and so it's and the students come and serve as volunteers, and some of our staff, and to assist. And a lot of the main goal of that is also to bring families together and bring kids together, so that they hang out with peers for a bit of time and do some activities that are accessible, and their families have a chance to come together and share while the kids and chat or the kids are enjoying themselves. So it's a great collaboration for that.
That's awesome. I'm really excited that Justine, you made that connection to the Low Vision Club at MCPH. I work with them on a regular basis with the program called the Walk Fit in Worcester, and
okay.
they're amazing sighted guides. And if you would like to develop that program a little bit more in the Boston area, I can connect you to a couple colleges there as well for future events. And my last question for you, Justine, is I'm kind of inspired by your work there. Is there any opportunity for leadership development amongst young adults or even a little bit older to develop our future leaders in the visually impaired community? Me and John and some of the others on our board are getting older, and I'd love to work with leadership development for the next leaders of our community.
You're not getting old or older at all. No one is. We're only getting younger. John, I don't know if you want to speak to some of the projects that we have going on with recruitment and things like that, or
So if you're talking about for us developing leaders as far as within the consumer ranks or within the public?
Within the consumer ranks, our visually impaired community,
Okay,
so that we can learn to be better advocates.
Right. So the WIOA Act, Workforce Investment Opportunities Act, gave us a tremendous opportunity. It requires the agency to spend 15% of our federal grant to offer services to youth 14 to 21. Okay. And so basically the services they're offering, one of them is self-advocacy, other one's career explorations, but sticking with the self-advocacy, a lot of our vendors that are doing these types of services are offering workshops, are offering opportunities to teach consumers how to advocate for themselves. I think also the pre-ETS conference that we offer, specifically targeting teachers of the visually impaired in the state, we offer advocacy and we encourage them, and they are fully on board with this, that have your students advocate for themselves, have the parents along with the students advocate for the services they want. So we are, because by the time if they go to college or they go to another vocational program or go into the workforce, they're going to have to learn how to advocate, how to educate people based on what their needs are, so that they are able to get through. So, and I say that some of the consumer groups, and National Federation of the Blind and Bay State Council of the Blind and others are also teaching people how to advocate for services they need or programs that they feel are important. And some of our folks coming to this call are learning to, and by listening and learning, are learning to be advocates and strong advocates and advocate for the services that they need from the Commonwealth, or advocate for services they need from a particular company. So it is a long process. I think a lot of our consumers are a bit hesitant at first on the advocacy side, and are a bit maybe shy on that aspect of it. But I think it's coming along. I think the one of the issues, and this is being faced by many civic organizations or organizations that are out here, is getting members and getting our youth to feel part of something and participate in organizations or that would sort of meet what they're looking for, or help them advocate for what they're looking for. And that's the big issue. But I think once they're comfortable and they've had this training and they live life and they learn to advocate for certain things, and while they go into educational programs or while they go into rehab centers, they learn advocacy in those types of programs, be it locally here at the Carroll Center or be in centers out of state that we send them to. There's always large components on advocating for yourself and standing up for what you should have. And Justine has a long history in working with students, so I'll let her chime in and see what she has to say on advocacy issues or training.
Yeah.
You're muted, Justine.
Sorry. Yes, I mean, I think, exactly what John kind of reviewed. Our pre-ETS programs are really kind of leading that work, along with the internship, which requires a lot of self-advocacy and incorporates a lot of those soft skills that youth and young adults really need to be developing at that critical time as they're starting to enter the world of work. And through our VR meetings that we have monthly, we often have a lot of presenters and speakers come to speak to our group about some of these services and programs that John talked about that offer these services to our consumers, whether it be the Carroll Center or there's the LEAP program, which is based out of Vermont, Perkins, of course. And we've really seen, of course, over the years since COVID, a lot of these programs and partners have expanded their services to offer hybrid and, remote services, which has been great, especially for us to be able to reach some of, far out in Western Mass. You can participate in a book club that meets Monday evenings where, logistically, if that was in person, it wouldn't be possible. So that expansion's been really good too.
Thank you. Jerry, you do have your hand up. To give you the floor.
Yes, I did have my hand up. This is Jerry Barrier, and getting back to having an in-person meeting, I would like to recommend that if you're going to do that for the general public, make it a hybrid meeting so that people don't have to come in if they choose not to. Thank you.
Yeah, very good point. Thank you. Anybody else have questions or comments?
Debbie Malone.
Go ahead, Debbie.
So I just wanted to chime in here for a second. I think having an in-person meeting is a great idea. I think there's some logistics that many people would have to figure out transportation-wise and work-wise. But I think doing a hybrid would help as well. But those of us who might want to come to an in-person meeting, I think that's a great opportunity to personally meet people. And I agree with the atmosphere it's much different. And so I'm in favor of figuring that out. And I have one other comment. I went to a new eye doctor this morning, and out of the clear blue, he is praising the commission and our commissioner, John, immensely. Just out of the clear blue, he said, "Oh, you're involved with the commission. I'm really happy with the way things are run." And I just wanted to put that out there. Everybody's doing a great job. Thanks, John.
Good to
Thank you,
hear.
guys.
All right.
We're working hard here every day. It's not just me, it's a whole team.
It
Like I
is.
said, we have about 139 people, just about counting our CFO starting Monday. We're all working together to try to make it happen and keeping, and any feedback, feel free to reach out to us. And we're always looking for new ideas, different ways. And if you have a great idea, you heard something in another state, by all means, let us know about it if we haven't heard across, although we are trying to attend different conferences and get different ideas. Right now, we have 3 of our directors at a conference that's actually it's a training, and they've spent during the early part of this year, they've spent 2 weeks together at different locations, meeting people from managers from other agencies around the country. They're working on projects together. And this week, this wraps up. They're in DC this week. And not only are they finishing up and presenting their projects, they're also learning how the process works as far as legislation on Capitol Hill. So we are going to continue to give our staff opportunities to get out there, learn a little more about other states and other programs so that they can bring it here. And sometimes, we hear about another program and we take it and we tweak it. We make it work here. Sometimes it's a program that's being offered at a general agency, but there's special ways that we can modify that program to make it work for an agency that serves blind consumers and make it work well. So we'll continue to do that. And our goal here is to always try to keep the latest opportunities. And we are all about creating opportunities, giving opportunities to consumers who are looking to do and learn different things. And that's what all of our staff here is always striving to do.
Thank you, John. Very, very good. Anybody else? Anybody else have comments? No. I guess we're concluding this meeting. Thank you very much for your attendance, and thank you for your support, everybody. And a good way to end on a positive note, John. Nice comments for you. Congratulations.
Happy holidays to you all, and thank you all for attending. And we'll look forward to a happy new year.
Same to you, John.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, John.
Thank you very
Thank you,
much.
Brian.
Take
Bye-bye,
care.
guys.
Thank you, everyone.
Happy
Have a
holiday.
great day.
Happy holidays.
Happy holidays.